guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. But in case this is the first time you're stopping by, my name is Gina and I am a wife and mother from the Midwest, and I enjoy cooking fresh meals for my family, and on occasion I make videos of my recipes and I post them up here on YouTube. So today I am going to be teaching you how to make barbacoa de res, or beef barbacoa, which is essentially shredded beef tacos. It is super delicious. The meat is soft and melts in your mouth, and it has that really great slow simmered flavor that makes it just like extra special. So it's a Sunday. It's actually Super Bowl Sunday here, and I'm having my parents over, so we're gonna make this delicious taco spread, and I thought I would share it with you. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it. There should be a little thing right here somewhere. If you could just go ahead and do that, I would really appreciate it. I get really excited to see my channel grow. So anyways, without further ado, let's jump into our ingredients. So the first and most important piece of ingredients is our meat. So personally, I always use a 3-pound chuck roast. This is almost 3 pounds, and this is on sale, so it actually wasn't that bad. 11, 12 bucks for this huge piece of meat. And I know traditionally that they make this with like shank cuts and like neck bones and all sorts of stuff, but we're not really into that in our house. So this is nice because the meat is a thinner cut, so the shreds are shorter, so you don't have to chop it or anything after it's done. And it's easy just to pull out the gristle and the pieces of fat because they're pretty large and marbled throughout the middle. So this is what I recommend, but you can totally switch it out for whatever cut of meat you want. It'll work fine because it's going to cook for like 8 hours, and it'll be all good. Then the second most important component to this recipe are our dried chiles. So today I'm using 2 chile pasilla, and these are just dried, and you can find them in your larger grocery stores. Like I get them at Pete's Market by us, but you could use, if you can't find pasilla, you could use chile guajillo, which is just like a redder chili with more of a mild flavor, I guess I would say. Smokier flavor maybe, but these 2 chiles are interchangeable. You can pretty much use whatever you want, as long as it's a mild dried chile. Like don't substitute chiles de arbol or anything because it'll be spicy. So 2 chile pasillas, and then I would say 6 or 7 chile ancho, and then these are what really gives it its signature flavor. So I wouldn't recommend substituting these for anything else. And I do know that they have these and chile guajillo at Aldi's even, so you can find those there. And these ones are smoky flavor. I would say they almost taste like spicy raisins. They're really delicious, and these are nice and soft, so they're fresh. Anyways, moving on to our next ingredient is garlic. So you're going to want to use like 6 cloves of garlic, and you're going to see me use way more because these are just like the leftover bottom of the bag, so they're like little teeny ones. So I'll probably use like almost all of these. And then lastly, you need half of an onion, and I would prefer for you to use a white onion or a yellow onion for more traditional flavors. I have never tried it with a red onion, so I don't know how that would turn out. And then the rest is pretty simple. We're going to use 2 bay leaves, some black pepper, some caldo de pollo, or excuse me, de res en polvo, which is basically just beef bouillon powder. But if you don't like using things like this, because I know it does have MSG in it, you can just use regular salt. But I feel like this adds a deeper flavor to the dish. And then lastly, we're going to be using some oregano. And as a side note, if you are just going to use salt instead of the caldo en polvo, I would probably recommend you substitute the water that I'm going to be adding in the event that I need to with beef stock, just because this basically creates a beef stock. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get my onion peeled and then seed and devein my chiles, and then I'll be back when we toast them. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I have a like comal, or like a little skillet griddle thing over medium-high heat, and I'm letting it get nice and hot. And since I chose to peel and devein them and take the seeds out, or not peel, seed and devein them before I toasted them, that's why I'm using the comal. So if you wanted to and you're familiar with it, you can just take the chiles and then toast them directly in the flame of your oven or of your range. But if you don't have a range and you've got like one of those electric cooktops, or you choose to do it my way, go ahead and just use a skillet or a comal, nice and hot and dry. So I just wanted to show you, this is what they look like after they have been seeded and deveined. You basically just want to try your level best to remove all of the seeds and then any of the large veins that are in there. Like I didn't get all of that one, but like basically I've heard, and I don't know if it's true or not because I've never skipped that step. Supposedly if you leave the veins in there, the chiles get bitter. So that's why you do that. All right, so let me get a fork or something. You have to be kind of careful while you're toasting these because they do burn rather quickly. And when they burn, they also become bitter. So basically you just have to be careful or you're gonna have some bitter stuff. So this is a little bit hard for me to do with one hand, guys. That's why I'm trying to use a fork. I just want to show you like how the chile changes color when it's toasted. And you can smell them, like they get fragrant. So see how, anyways, I don't know what happened. Sorry, guys. Sorry my stove looks so gross. I've been frying a lot of stuff and cooking. I did tinga yesterday, so it's just, it was late at night. Anyways, so what I was saying is I kind of burnt that one a little bit, but now you can see that this chile is a nice, like, warm red color, and that's what you're looking for. Just for them to get going and for the oils to kind of get woken up and for it to be nice and fragrant. You do not want to burn these. You want to do both sides carefully. And then I think this one is done. Yep, this one is done. So I'm just going to plunk this in our blender. And inside of my blender right now, I do have actually 12 cloves of garlic because they were super skinny, but this would be 6 cloves for you. And then my half of an onion, just put in half. And I'm going to gradually toast these chiles and then put them into the blender. And I will be back when we're ready to start reconstituting them and adding things to our slow cooker. Okay, so all of our chiles have been toasted. I have them in our blender. I actually went ahead and pulled them out and I just took these kitchen scissors that I have and then chopped them into like little smaller pieces. Okay, 1 second. And I did that so that way they sit nicer in the bottom because I don't want to have to add a ridiculous amount of water to this because it would water it down. Let's see if you guys can see. Sorry, my blender is all creepy and yellow because I made something with turmeric in it 2 days ago, and I even tried bleach, and I can't get it out. So anyways, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to cover these with boiling water. I happen to have one of those Hinkley Schmidt things, so I'm just going to use the hot water from that to cover them and kind of pack them down. And then I'm going to let that sit for about 5 or 6 minutes and I'll check it. And basically you just want to see that they've become soft. And then once that happens, we'll add the remaining spices to here. We'll throw it in the blender and basically just pour it over our meat in our slow cooker and add some bay leaves. So we are almost done. All right, so our chiles have reconstituted. So let's go ahead and take a look. Sorry, it's not bright enough over here. Let's focus. Here we go. All right, let's grab. So as you can see, they're nice and soft. And you can kind of see their actual red color coming back instead of like the darker dried color. Hey, girls, don't spit at each other, please, okay? Okay. So that's how you know they're ready. So now we have to add the remaining ingredients to our blender carafe. So what this is here, I've just pre-measured it because it's easier for me to pre-measure it than to try to measure it out for you guys. I don't know why my phone won't focus. This is a new phone. It's so stupid. Anyways, so we've got a teaspoon of oregano, half of a teaspoon of black pepper, and this is a whole tablespoon of the Nor Suiza caldo de res en polvo. We're just going to add that directly to our blender. I'm going to go ahead and pop the lid on this and let this go for 1 or 2 minutes or until it is completely smooth because we are not going to strain it. And then I went ahead and I washed my beef, and this is a personal preference. I actually cover the whole thing in sea salt and rub it down really good and then rinse it just to make sure like any of that like filmy, sinewy stuff comes off. And then I've added 2 bay leaves right on top. So I will be back in just a moment when our chile is ready to add to the pot. All right, guys, sorry. I turned my flash on just so you could see what this looks like when it's done. This is a little bit thick, so I'm going to maybe add a little bit of water into it once I get it into the pot. Excuse me. So that's what I was talking about. Like, I use the caldo de pollo, or de pollo de res in here, which gave it beef flavoring that will make our consommé taste more rich. But if you don't use that, like, you could heat up beef stock and then reconstitute the chiles in there, and then if you need to thin it out at all, you could use that instead of water inside of the crock pot itself. So this looks pretty good. It's just a little bit thick, but as you can see, it's nice and smooth, like there's no chunks or anything, and we're good to go. So let me turn off our flash come over here to our crock pot, and we're just basically going to pour this chile over the top of our beef. And then I am going to grab a little water inside of here because we want to take advantage of all that delicious chile we made. 1 second, babe. Because we spent time making it and there's flavor in there and we want to use that as well. Just a little bit though, guys, because the beef is going to obviously let its juice off, which will also make the consommé thinner. So I'm just kind of mixing everything together here. Okay, so this is good to go. Make sure your bay leaves are inside of the liquid so that way they can release their flavor. And then I am going to put this, ooh man, we've got a angry toddlers in the background. Sorry guys. I have this currently on, sorry about that guys. I have 2 twins, 3-year-old twins, and sometimes the shit hits the fan. What can I say? Anyways, I have my crock pot set on 6 hours on high because my roast was a little bit frozen still in the middle. And also I started it too late. So it's like 11:42. So that means this will be ready at like 5 or 6. And that's what time I want it ready. So if you're going to cook it on low, I would recommend you cook it for 8 to 10 hours. But depending on the size of the meat and what cut you decide to use, it could vary. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for right now. I will be back once the meat is all cooked to show you how we remove the fat, shred it up, and how we serve it. Okay guys, so we are here just about 6 hours later, actually probably more about 5, and the beef is like super tender. So I went ahead and just put it on low, and I wanted to pop on here. I am going to take the beef out, but before I disturb it, as you can see, the top of this is all shiny because that's all fat that is floated to the top. So I'm going to skim that off because we don't really want to eat that before I mix it up and I show you what the chile looks like. So I will be back in just a second. Okay, so I just wanted to pop on and show you, I went ahead and I strained off the fat, so now we have this nice rich chile right here, and then I will taste it for salt, but we might actually be okay. And then I just wanted to show you like how much fat you have to take off. Like it's a significant amount of fat. I know a little bit on the bottom has separated it out as not fat, but I don't have one of those measuring cups that like separates the fat for you. So this is what we're going with because this looks nice and not greasy. The next step is to go ahead and take the roast, and you're going to remove any chunks of like big fat gristle. So like right here in the middle, there's always some, and get rid of anything that looks nasty, like you don't want to eat it, and then just shred it and add it back to the pot. Then we're going to go ahead and put this in a serving dish and we'll be ready to go.
How's it feeling?
Okay guys, so here's our finished product. We have our barbacoa. We serve it on tortillas with cilantro and onion and then some fresh limes. And then we just have a simple beans and rice on the side. And let's do a quick taste test. What do you think, Daniel?
Pretty good. I love it.
Pretty good doesn't sound like it's that good.
It's delicious. It really is really good.
All right. What do you guys think?
It's really good.
All right.
I like it.
And Fifi doesn't like it. Go figure. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Why?
You didn't even try it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked my video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. And if you loved it, please feel free to subscribe. Thanks so much, and have a good night.
Good night. Good night. I'll go to channel.
She's gonna go to China. There's all the coronavirus. You cannot.